Check this out. The game got even faster. Welcome everyone back to the Ratshot devlog. Those of you who are new here are probably confused, and those of you who aren't are probably also confused.
Retro, what did you do? I thought this game was about a rat with a gun, and now you're making 2D ULTRAKILL?
Worry not, dear viewer, because that's exactly what I'm doing. Freezing cold take incoming. This game rules. The whole philosophy with this game was literally just to make the most fun experience possible, and I'm surprised I haven't taken more inspiration from it just for that fact alone. Playing it again for the new update got me really jazzed about gameplay in general, and it made me want to tinker around with the gameplay of Ratshot a little bit. More specifically, the move kit. The Ratshot move kit has kind of solidified itself into being three main moves: the Gunshot, Drill, and the Beyblade. The Gunshot moves you diagonally up, the Drill down, and the Beyblade left and right. This game is pretty centered around speedrunning, so they all gotta help you gain or keep your speed somehow. I don't think we have room for another main move, so if I was gonna add a new one, it was gonna have to be another gimmicky one that would help you keep speed. All my successful moves for this game in the past have come from looking at where gameplay slows down or where momentum is lost, and then adding a move to make sure you could keep that speed. And the main culprit of losing speed was turning around. Sure, you could just shoot in the other direction, but there were still a few sour spots where turning around always just felt kinda awkward. One idea that's been floating around in my head for a while was letting the player boost in the other direction when attacking a wall. Seemed easy to code, so I figured I would try it out, and yep, okay, wow, this is the most useless move I've ever added. Being able to do this on any wall inherently made it unpredictable as to where people would try and use it, and also very difficult to design obstacles around. Absolutely pointless move. I couldn't even make it more powerful without breaking the rest of the game wide open. But as I was playing levels and trying to find uses for it, I came across this room which had a big wall of spikes. You saw the montage, you know where this is going. Buff the hell out of it when used on spikes specifically, accidentally create one of the most powerful moves in the game. But still a balanced one. Keep in mind, to pull this off, you have to charge yourself at full speed into a wall of spikes, and then time the hit perfectly in order to flip it. Yeah, that's right, flip it. This move gives you 1.2 times speed in the other direction and a boost upwards, so it's pretty strong if used right. The variant for regular walls remained pretty much useless, so I decided to just can it as I could only see it being used accidentally. But yeah. What do you think?
You spent 4 months adding a move from Hollow Knight to your game?
No, this is different, okay? I don't even like Hollow Knight.
You don't like Hollow Knight?
Look, okay, I've been busy. I just don't want to show what I've made because of spoilers, okay? This has probably been one of my most productive few months I've had on the game. But if I show you guys everything, the game is just going to feel stale when you get to play it. Besides, I feel like with the bigger game design centered videos, I kind of gloss over the little stuff sometimes, which, as you'll see later, can actually have a bigger effect on the game than you might think. What little things am I talking about exactly? Game feel. For those unfamiliar, game feel in a nutshell is just the special effects that an action in a game gets to make it feel fun. And if there's one game that masters game feel, it is, once again, ULTRAKILL. The reason I've always loved this game so much is simply because it's just so insanely fun. And I think as a dev, I've been too focused on game design as a way to reach that fun. That's not to say that a game can't be fun just from well-designed mechanics alone, but at the end of the day, I wasn't playing ULTRAKILL for its well-crafted enemy encounters, okay? I'm playing ULTRAKILL because when I press the F key, this happens. So while I'm juicing up this new move with effects, I may as well spice up the rest of the game too. I'm fun maxing, okay? You will press buttons and awesome things will happen. This is the beauty of video games. First up was the new move, or the spike hit. This is a hard one to hit successfully, so it needed to feel amazing to pull off, and also very cool. The first thing I wanted to properly try was a freeze frame. I know, another ULTRAKILL thing, but I'm gonna have original ideas soon, okay? Just wait. After that, I just combined it with some extra sharp particles to complement the feeling of hitting a spike, and oh my god. I am so excited for you guys to get your hands on this move. I can only imagine what the speedrunning scene is gonna look like once this next demo releases. The skill ceiling has gone way up with this move alone, especially considering that you can hit the side of spikes too if you're precise enough. Anyways, yeah, freeze frame, sharp particles, along with a mix of probably the most elite stock sound effect pulls I've ever gotten. I might add more over-the-top stuff later if you hit it while going really fast, but I think this is good for now. As good as extra juice and special effects are, you still need some visual clarity, and sometimes simple feels more fun anyways. So for now, we'll mark that one as done. Next up, the Beyblade. I actually had a specific goal with this one besides making it more fun. The idea behind the Beyblade was to give the player a lot of horizontal speed at the cost of no vertical movement. But I still got a lot of people saying you should be able to jump or shoot out of a Beyblade. And my answer to this is hell no, because otherwise you would just spend the whole game Beyblading, which you kind of already do anyways. This move is very strong. But maybe if I emphasize the player actually being forcefully stuck into the ground during the Beyblade, people will be able to get behind the trade-off of the move. I don't think the issue is people feeling like the Beyblade is too weak. I think that it just feels unnatural that you can't jump. So I threw in some stylized sparks and a sound effect that would hopefully sound like something being forcefully scraped across the ground. I might also add some little rock fragments coming from the ground to really sell it, or even some like debris underneath it, like this drawing. I don't know how to describe this. You know what I mean? But anyways, that might fall into the zone of too much effects, so we'll see. Maybe I should add the particles only for if you specifically try to jump or shoot. Anyways, we'll mark it as done, and we'll come back after playtesting to see if it needs more effects to really sell that in the ground thing. Next move, the drill. I've been meaning to swap out these dust clouds forever. I originally made it for the slide and just put it on the drill landing as a placeholder, but it doesn't really sell the impact. So I spent like an hour animating this way bigger version of the dust cloud. I mean, man, doesn't that look nice? It's so smooth and cool looking, and it felt stupid as hell in the game, man. I hated it. Truth nuke, just because something looks nice does not mean it will feel fun in game. I realized after this that the drill, above all else, needed to feel impactful, which couldn't really be achieved by these big, bushy clouds. So in much less time, I made this pure white spiky effect, and it feels so much better. Literally night and day. This one took way less time. Goes to show, sometimes less is more, or something. I don't know. Just be you get the idea. Aside from that, I also wanted to differentiate when you drill from a really high point and from like half a foot in the air. So now if you drill from a high place, you get this crack on the ground and these big rocks behind you. One thing I noticed is that bigger but fewer rocks was way more fun than a bunch of small ones. I guess because it makes the floor feel more solid and hard and difficult to break apart, thus making it feel more strong when you do. And then of course, leaving cracks everywhere is fun. These don't go away unless you leave the area, so theoretically you can make the entire ground black in some areas if you really want to. Being able to sort of dig into the ground like this reminded me of the icebergs in Animal Jam and Club Penguin, where people will try to come together and break into the ice. The idea of kids spreading rumors of Easter eggs where you can break through a part of the level if you just drill in the ground enough times probably won't happen with a game like this, but I love the idea of people trying it. Next up was the Gunshot, the signature move of the game. I didn't have much to change for this one, actually. I messed around with the sound and I couldn't really find much to change besides adding more distortion, which, as Nuclear Throne has taught me, makes everything more cool. I also changed the particles to be like diamonds. I don't know, I think this one's fine. Besides, there are two other non-moveset offenders that need to be fixed first: breaking tiles and collecting wallets. The effect for breaking a tile was something I did very early and has always looked and felt horrible, and while the new sounds I did a while back helped that, the particle was just not it. I drew a better looking one and it definitely looked a lot nicer, but when it came to making it more fun, the solution I found was to just once again make the rocks really fucking big. That and also having the particle aim up instead of any direction to give that feeling of drilling. Another not too big change that was totally night and day. And now we have the last and probably my favorite of the changes, the wallet. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of just forgot to put any sort of sound effect on this one. It just spawns a bunch of money on the player and plays a reused sound effect from one of my older games. Doesn't feel too great for what's supposed to be a big reward for the player. Good news is that at maximum you're only going to collect 3 of these per level, so I got to go kinda nuts on the effects without it being too overstimulating for the player in the long run. One thing I learned through all this is that if you're going to do a freeze frame, you have to use it on something that has a lot of other effects and doesn't happen too often. Too much freeze frame with not much to complement it can kinda just make things feel awkward. For the wallets, I knew I wanted to make them feel video gamey. 1, because it's fun, and 2, because it adds to the joke of people's wallets being a video game collectible. So I drew this arcadey text for the money earned and a particle for some big yellow coins. Then to just give it that good old freeze frame. Despite it being rare, this still happens in the middle of gameplay, so I tried to make it pretty clear when the game was paused and when it wasn't. Hence the circle thingy when the game unfreezes. One weird thing is I actually had to move basically every wallet in the game to be collected in the middle of an action, both because it felt better and it wouldn't get in the way of gameplay. Add that to the rule of freeze frames. They're an effect that directly affects the game, so they have to be predictable. Mix that with redoing the sound effect and I have this. I'm not trying to glaze myself in this video, but like, come on, you gotta admit that's way better. I mean, what other game has collectibles that feel this good to go? Okay, yeah, it's ULTRAKILL again. Alright, you think you're so cool with your over-the-top effects and crazy distortion or whatever, I'll beat you in something you never even thought of. The P rank animation. Eat that, ultra idiot. This little side adventure of juicing up all the effects in the game made me realize just how important it is to juice up all the effects in your game. This did not take long to do. I think all of the stuff in this video happened in like a week, and most of the time here was just spent messing around with particles and fine-tuning sound effects. And yet, I'd say with all this combined, the moment-to-moment gameplay is pretty much twice as fun, and more visually clear too. Moral of the story, make all your particles super sharp and add distortion to everything. I mean, gameplay really is the meat of a game, especially for indie games. This is what people are coming for, and sometimes there's improvements that can be made to that are right under your nose. If you're new here and any of the gameplay footage you've seen here looks interesting, feel free to wishlist the game on Steam. Last time, I set a bet for you guys at 1,000 wishlists, and you destroyed it and almost hit 4,000.
Seems I underestimated you guys.
Well then, if a game gets 8,000 wishlists within a month of this video coming out, I'll add an option to the game that makes Godot say a bunch of cordy one-liners like he's in a AAA game.
Focus M.
Why would that make me want to wishlist your game?
Good question.
You're the boss, princess.